Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. Here on my channel, I love affordable fashion and beauty and fragrance. I do all sorts of things like hauls, tutorials, reviews. And if that sounds good to you, please subscribe and stick around. And you guys may have noticed I've been doing a lot more fragrance content on my channel. And I will say, how does fragrance like really fit into like a budget friendly channel like mine? Because you will be hearing about fragrances in the future that are not so budget friendly. Some of them will be, but my goal is to always let you guys know the cheapest place to buy them, even if they are a higher ticket item. So budget doesn't always mean that it's cheap, just means I'm going to try to help you find the best place possible. But today is not necessarily me trying to urge you to buy something. Maybe it's more of a de-influencing. This is a fragrance declutter. And I've been dying to film this so I can just get these out of the way. I have been building my fragrance collection like crazy the past couple of months. And what I really discovered while I was bringing new fragrances in is I was like, my taste has changed tremendously. I mean, there are some still like old favorites that I love that I have kept in my collection, but there are a lot that I realize are just not my thing anymore. And certain notes that I have detected that maybe this is a note I just don't enjoy anymore. And I will also say before I show you which ones I'm decluttering is fragrance is definitely subjective. Just because I decide that I don't want to keep one anymore, I don't think it's good, doesn't mean that it's terrible for everyone. Now, I will tell you if I think a fragrance is flat out just bad, like bad, and try to, you know, discourage you from buying it. But for the most part, I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's just maybe that it's not for me, or that it's not very interesting, or maybe it's repetitive in my collection. So just keep that in mind going forward. And let's go ahead and get into my declutter. Okay, so first up, I'm actually going to tell you guys about 2 that I recently sold on Mercari. So I had them in my bin to show you guys, but then I posted them. I jumped the gun a little bit before this video and they did sell. So I don't have the bottle to show you, but I will pop in what they look like over here. And I'm also going to be popping in notes over here. Because this isn't a video where I am trying to either test something out brand new or maybe encourage you to try something or buy something, I'm not going to go too much into notes. Maybe a few, I'll tell you like a little bit of what's in it and like the family that it's in or why I don't like it. Maybe there's a note in it I don't like, but I'm not going to tell you all of the notes for this video, but I will have a picture of them right over here. Okay, so the first one that I decided to declutter is the Jimmy Choo Flash. Now, this is a really, really beautiful bottle. I did have it for quite a while in my collection. It was about 2/3 full at the time that I sold it on Mercari. And I used to think I really liked this. I'd say it was very much more of like a nighttime, more wintry fall fragrance, a little bit heavier, a little bit spicy. And I do like some spicy, but here is a note that I have figured out that I used to really like that I don't anymore, most of the time anyway, and that is pink pepper. I used to love pink pepper. I loved the spiciness of it. I loved like how it made me feel like just spicy myself. And as I was trying to decide if I wanted to keep this fragrance or not, and I kept smelling it, I was like, I like can't stand this on my arm. I just don't like this at all. And I cross compared it to another one I was feeling the same way about and realized that they both had pink pepper in it. And it was that sharp spiciness that I was smelling that I just didn't enjoy anymore. So that's why I decluttered it. I would not say that this is a fragrance that is for no one. Absolutely not. It is a pretty fragrance. Like I said, a beautiful bottle. The lasting power was really, really good on it too, but I just decided it's not for me anymore. All right, the next one up is Versace, and this is Ooh Fresh. So this is a men's fragrance, and I did get this in a set to test out. Actually, why don't I just pull that out right now because I do have it in my declutter. So this was a Versace sampler that came with an Ulta purchase a while back. And funny enough, I do have, I think, is it that one that's missing out of here? Yeah. So the Eau Fresh was right here. And it's missing because I thought I loved it and I kept wearing it as a sample. And I left, I was like, oh, I really, really like this. Like, I know it's a men's fragrance, but it was very like citrusy and just like fresh. And so I went ahead and got a full size. And as soon as I got the full size and started wearing it, I was like, I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought that I did. Now, I do think this smells really good. Like I said, it's very fresh, it's very bright, it is citrusy, and I do think maybe it's a little bit better suited on a man. I mean, I do really like unisex fragrances. I do like some actual colognes, even on myself, but that one, I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. And if I'm having to force myself to wear something, I was like, it's time to go. So I did sell that one on Mercari. Now, the rest of these that I'm decluttering is all the rest of these Versace. Some of these I'll make my husband wear because they do smell good. Like Eros is a great men's fragrance. I do really, really like that. But for myself, I'm not going to wear that. It is very masculine. Dylan Blue, the men's version, I do like that one too. But this might surprise some of you guys because I know a lot of people love like Dylan Turquoise. I know a lot of people love the bright crystals that are in here. And you will see 2 more bright crystals that are full size that are in this declutter. I personally just don't like that fragrance anymore. I think I outgrew it. And what I mean by that, if you're someone that loves it, because I know it's a very popular fragrance, when you start really smelling a lot of niche perfumes or just more unique notes, you realize that some of the popular ones, like a bright crystal, just like I said, they're not unique, or maybe they're not blended as well as, you know, some of the others that you've tried. And you would have never really known that had you not ventured out and smelled a lot of other things. So for me, I mean, it's very floral. It's very overpowering, and it just wasn't pleasant to me anymore. So I do have, let's see, I have this bottle was the one that I was wearing for a while. So it's about 3/4 of the way full. And then I do have a full packaged one. Now, why do I have that? Well, my husband, not realizing that I already owned this one, gifted me this one. And I'd already decided that I was decluttering this and that I didn't like it anymore when he gifted me this. And I haven't had the heart to even tell him yet that I don't like this fragrance. So he doesn't know, but I'm definitely just going to sell it and I'll get something that I do like. So this will be on my Mercari. But what's funny about bright crystal and some of these is if you go on Fragnetica, if you don't know that site for whatever reason, it's the most like comprehensive fragrance site that has notes. It has pros and cons. You can vote on it if you are like a member of Fragnetica. It is a fragrance lover's encyclopedia basically. And this isn't super highly reviewed on there, even though it's one of the most popular fragrances. And I think that's because if you're a true fragrance person that really tests a lot of different perfumes, and you start to really sharpen your nose, you realize it's not that good. But if you love it, I love that for your life. I just personally have outgrown it. Now here is another one that is one of the most popular fragrances in the world, if not the most. I mean, it's up there. And that is La Vie Belle by Lancome. Now, they did gift this to me, and they also gifted me a huge box that had the lotion and this. So I'm not even going to pull that out, but just know that's in my declutter as well. I don't like this fragrance, and I never really have, so it's not one of those I've outgrown. It's just not for me. Now, it is a pear fragrance and a floral, but I don't get a ton of the pear. It's just so overpowered by the florals that for me are not pleasant, at least on myself. Like, I know this is a very, very, very popular fragrance. It is fairly fresh. It's bright. It's definitely like a spring, summer. It's a little romantic, but for me, I don't like the mix of it. I do like florals. It's not that it's a floral, it's just not a floral for me. I do feel like it's a little bit more mature as well, although I do have friends that love this that are my age and younger. But if I were saying like who I would recommend this for, would be someone who does like strong florals, wants something that will last a really, really long time, and that's maybe in their 60s is the demographic I think for this fragrance. So anyway, I don't really love it. And it's another one that on Fragnetica, for a lot of fragrance lovers out there, is not that highly reviewed. Like, it's more in the 3.5 out of 5 stars, whereas you'll ask Sephora and it's probably 4.5. Okay, next up we have this Vince Camuto Bella. So this is another one where I used to think that I really liked it. This is a floral as well. It does have like amber in it. It actually, when I read the notes to this, I'm like, I feel like I should like this one. And I do think this one is good. Like, I think for a lot of people, I think people who like Coach and maybe some of the Marc Jacobs would like this. But for me, I just outgrew it. This is an example of one that I outgrew, that it's just not unique enough and not one that excites me when I wear it. And there's just no sense in me keeping something that I'm just like, oh, I guess I'll wear it today, but I really don't want to. It's silly. But I do think this one is actually pretty. It's just not for me anymore. Okay, then we have one that I had picked up at TJ Maxx, and this is Fleur Monois. Maybe that's how you say it. It's a hair and body mist. And I really don't even know why I got this. It is very rosy and like maybe lavender. I mean, I like rose if it's like a very sophisticated rose and like a complicated rose, or rose with vanilla. This is just, I mean, it's actually not that bad, but kind of has that like powdery, baby powder sort of scent to it as well. I think it's fine for the hair, but then when I would wear it in my hair, I'd be like, I really don't like smelling my hair right now, so there's just no sense in keeping that. This also I got at TJ Maxx. It is lavender and cedarwood, and I'm like, this is before I was really honing in on what notes I love and what notes I do not. Lavender is very tricky for me. It is definitely one of my least favorite flowers. Yeah, this is, I don't like this. Some people might. I wish there was more cedarwood. Maybe if it was heavy on the cedarwood and light on the lavender. But it just kind of smells, I don't know. I don't like it. Like powdery, baby powder again, but like cloying flat, I don't know. Not my favorite, but the bottles actually, these bottles of this brand is really, really pretty. It's La Maison de Aubusson, if that's how you say it. So I'd be curious what other fragrances that they have, but for me, this one's gotta go. Okay, now this Venice Noir, I thought I loved this so much back in the day. And this is very indicative of fragrances I used to love. They were these deep, sexy, nighttime type of florals that, like a flower bomb. That's what this reminds me a lot of, flower bomb. And now I do not like flower bomb. Again, I know that is another very popular fragrance, but for me, I don't enjoy it anymore. And this one reminds me of that. It also reminds me of really popular fragrances when I was in high school and junior high, that it's dated. That's the thing with this. This is a very dated fragrance. You're gonna see, well, let me just pull it out. The beloved Chanel Coco Mademoiselle. I mean, look, I'm like towards the end of this. These are two examples of fragrances I used to love that a scent profile that doesn't cut it for me anymore. That like classic older, like I do think of these as much more mature fragrances, but they're also so strong, and they're just not new anymore. You know, they just are like a dated scent profile. And so people may be so mad at me for some of these picks, but I used to love Coco Mademoiselle. Are you kidding me? I used to wear it all the time in college, and I would wear it out to clubs and stuff because it was the cool fragrance back then. But you smell this, and this is for like a 60, 70-year-old woman. This is not for a 20-year-old girl. But back then, there weren't as many choices. And so I think I thought I loved this because it's all that I wore back then. And now I'm like, I don't like this anymore. So that's why both of these have got a color Lancome. This is the original classic Idole. So they sent these to me in PR, and I had this one, the Now, and then the Aura. Aura, I love. That is by far my favorite. I do enjoy Now better than the original. And this is one that I don't think is a terrible fragrance. I really don't. It's just not me. It's another one of those very classic. It's a rose fragrance. Florally rose. And it reminds me just of like a certain day and time of fragrances that were popular, like what would have been popular 20 years ago. And again, that's just not what I'm into these days, but I do think I love the bottle in this. It's so sleek, and I wouldn't blame someone for liking this. It's just definitely not a me scent. Now, one I would blame someone for liking. No. Okay, Dossier. If you don't know Dossier, it is primarily an inspired by fragrance house, and it's inexpensive, like alt fragrances. So they do, you know, knockoffs of all types of popular designer fragrances. But then they also came out with some of their own, and they reached out for me for PR, and I thought, let me try like their own fragrances. They've got some work to do, I will tell you that. So this one, the Sunny Vetiver and Neroli. Now, I've tested many a fragrance since I decided to pick this one out and realized that Neroli is difficult. It is in a few fragrances I do like. It's not like it's a note that's a deal breaker for me. It cannot be super prominent, and it has to be blended well. Like Tonka's Your by Gallagher and Pearlescent Fragrances has neroli in it, but it also has blueberry and champagne that's like much more prominent than a neroli. And this is just bergamot, grapefruit, neroli, orange blossom, geranium, Haitian vetiver, patchouli, and cedarwood. And patchouli is another one where it's in a lot of fragrances I like. It better be a base note, and it better be blended really well. I don't want it to stand out a whole lot. You guys, this smells so bad. My husband smelled it and he was like, gross, get it away from me. It is just not good. Oh, by the way, also, I will say, my husband, like the Coco Mademoiselle, that Venice, he does not like those fragrances either. He thinks they smell like much too mature, much too mature. So he is a little bit in my ear sometimes on these. Like, I will keep a fragrance and wear it to death that he does not like if I love it. But if it's one I'm on the fence about and he's like, no, then bye. And this, I was not on the fence though. I was like, this does not smell good. And he did not like it at all either. And then the other one, unfortunately, that I picked out from them too. So I was 2 for 2 picking out the wrong fragrances. Oh my gosh, be smarter than the box. Okay, this one is caramelized lavender and hazelnut. Now, I do like caramel. I like hazelnut as a note. So then you got that lavender in there. And this one wasn't as offensive. It has violet, which I love, orange flower. It does have patchouli, vetiver, suede, and broxen. Salted caramel. So I thought it sounds really interesting, but I think the lavender absolutely killed this. It makes it powdery and makes it smell very mature. If they had mixed this with like peony, maybe if they had mixed it with non-magnolia, that wouldn't have gone very well. Even jasmine, I don't know, but the lavender just killed that fragrance. So those are not, I would not recommend those two at all. Another one I would not recommend is the Ceremonia Perfume de la Tierra. So I got this from Skeepers. You guys, don't always believe the reviews on Sephora. They are lying to you. Pretty much anyone that reviewed this got it in PR. Like they got it from Skeepers in PR. They probably didn't buy it. Maybe a few, but most got it in PR. And a lot of people lie when they have PR. I'm very, very honest in my reviews. Like if you follow me on Instagram, you will see, even if I get something in PR and I don't like it, I will say it. The amount of people that said this fragrance is so good on Sephora. I know I said, you know, fragrance is subjective, but this smells like, it just, no. It smells so old. Like, I don't mean like old person old, although it does smell very mature. I'm trying to be tactful in the way that I say that. I don't want to say it smells like an old lady. No, it just smells very, very mature. But it also just smells old, like from so long ago. Like someone wore in the 70s. It was like cheap cologne and is older. I just do not like it at all. It's got this like mineral earthiness to it that not that I hate that. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's like powdery too. And I would not recommend it. So it was like a one-time try and I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Okay. The last three are from by Rosie Jane. And I feel so silly that I have these 3 full-size bottles that I'm decluttering when I have the Discovery set, and I should have like really had a good handle on what I liked from it. I bought 6, I think, and I'm keeping 3 that I really do like, but these 3 I'm getting rid of. So we have James, Angie, and Layla Lou. Now I like their clean looking bottles. I think that they're nice and pretty. This is a clean fragrance. This Layla Lou is very baby powdery to me again. It smells really generic. I tried to layer it. I tried all sorts of things and I just couldn't do it. James kind of I like it better than that one. It has a similar DNA to that one. Slightly less powdery, more florally, but still not for me. And then Angie is another, Angie's better. I'd say out of the 3, this is the best. But for me, again, I don't love it enough to keep it in my collection. I would say though, honestly, I really wouldn't recommend Layla Lou to very many people. James and Angie, I think some people would like. They're just not for me. But I do like this brand. Dylan is one of theirs that I enjoy. Dulce is a vanilla, very straightforward, like vanilla extract that I think is a nice layering one. But these, I need to make room because I have so many new fragrances and new fragrances coming in that I've got to make room. But you guys, that is it. That is my whole fragrance declutter. You guys will have to let me know, like, do you hate me that I put some favorites in there? Do you like this fragrance declutter video? Let me know in the comments. And as always, have fun shopping. Budget shopping. Bye.